Hi everyone, it's Sean Murphy and welcome back to my channel. And it's time for In the Frame. So we're going to jump straight into it, guys. I just want to say before we do, a massive thank you to you guys for supporting the channel so much. We're really starting to build a great little community here on the channel. In fact, across all of my social platforms. But over here, it's really good. Thanks for getting stuck into the comments. We've had so many new subscribers recently, and I hope you're enjoying the content. Make sure if you are new to the channel, because we still have more people watching than actually subscribe. So if you are new, if you're here for the first time, feel free to hit that subscribe button. It's totally free of charge, won't cost you a penny. And I think the content's good. Anyway, it's In the Frame. Some people are starting to say In the Frame Friday. You don't have to say that, but I'm going with it. It's In the Frame Friday, and we're going to jump straight into the video. I'm going to keep using the spotted cue ball because we're getting some really good feedback about that. You guys loving seeing the spin, how that spin manipulates the cue ball, what it's actually doing, and it's great that you can see it with one of these. Do you know what? I actually think we should be using these in tournament play. Like, I think you should be able to see this when we're playing. And think about this, snooker currently is still the only table sport, still the only cue sport that doesn't use one of these. They're using it in billiards, they're using it in 9-ball, they're using it in straight put, they're using it in everything. So maybe it's time snooker moved on, just so you guys can see what's happening. Going to keep this cue ball here, the normal one over here, just to give you a guide on certain shots when I say I'm playing certain positional shots, where we're going with this. I'm going to leave this here as a guide for the break-off. That's where we start. Let's get into it. I'm going to break off from the green side of the brown today, loads of left-hand side on the cue ball, end red, and I'm trying to get the figure of 8 background for that cue ball. Anything over here isn't really any good because I'll probably leave a long red. Anyway, let's get into it and see what happens today. Cut that break off a little bit thick. That red has come on and off the cushion. That's fine. The cue ball's short, and of course the red that I've hit, because I hit it too thick, because I hit too much of it, has tracked back up over the middle pocket. I don't know about you, but I really struggle with the break off. I find it a really difficult shot. At the start of any match, if I win the toss, I always put my opponent into break because I don't like it. I've never been that good at the break-off, I have to say. Those of you that have known me for a long time, yeah, I know you're watching these videos. You might say you're not, but I know you're out there watching. I've struggled with the break-off since I was this tall. How old would I have been when I was there? Don't know. Very little. Anyway, let's crack on. I have left this red to the middle pocket. I'm going to play a little soft stun shot on and off the cushion for the black, and hopefully score a few points. How's the pace? Yep, it's good. And we're off and running. And that was quite a nice little shot, that. Obviously, to score a load of points, you need more reds in play. So when and how do you do that? It's very easy now for me to take these 2 open reds, 2 colours, and then search for either a good angle on the black or a good video on the blue to split the reds. And, you know, if you get up here nicely half ball on the blue, you can really smash those reds open. Just incidentally, I have already done a video specifically about splitting packs using the blues. Make sure to check that out if you haven't done already, because that's a really good video. You asked for it and you got it. So that's in my mind here. 2 reds time. I could play for the blue, crash into the pink, send the reds far and wide. However, my rule is if you've got the smallest, slightest chance of the 147 to stay with the black, then you should. All roads lead to the black, is what I was taught. So we're only on 1. If in 10 minutes time I make a 147, I want you to say 2 things. 1, Sean, that was much longer than 10 minutes, because it will be. And 2, you called it from the first red. I've also totally forgotten to remove that cue ball off the table, so we'll do that now before we go any further. And the shot I'm going to play here is to pot the black on and off this cushion, and I'm going to play the cue ball somewhere around here. so that I'm on the next red with an angle that I can pot the red, and in doing so, splash into these reds, screw the cue ball out and retain position on the black. That's my route. So, pot the black and hopefully finish short on the next red. Well, I finished very short on the next red. That's awful. That's a really bad shot. I mean, it's guaranteed me the angle on the red to obviously pot the red and crash into the reds, but this red's a lot more difficult than it should have been, frankly. I've really messed up there. You can see this little space of these reds. You can see the shape they're starting to produce, this almost like a little curl in those three reds there. That's a great little, I don't know, it's almost like a cushion on the table to pot the red. Cue ball goes into these reds, and with the backspin, you can see the spin on the cue ball that I'm going to do. You can see that cue ball is going to hit that red, and that spin's going to just encourage the cue ball to come around and cannon these reds, and it will naturally drag back out into this area. Two risks here. One, you miss the red, and two, one of these reds spoils and comes down and ruins position. Anyway, these cutback shots are one of my least favourite shots, but here we go. Hold on to your hats. Whew. Don't like those shots at all. I'm as surprised as you are that that went in. Don't like those at all. Now I'm just going to have a little check at this red, because this red has floated up the table, but it's still very pottable. And this black here is, you know, it's not very friendly. It's enough off the cushion that really I should pot it, and if I can just stun the cue ball up here for the next red, do you know what? We could have a bit of a run here, but this is a very, very tough shot. Well, the black's gone in. It's not perfect on the next red. Now just wonder here, when I'm potting this red, am I going to run into the red there? I'm going to take a risk. I'm just going to drop this in dead weight, really softly, no spin on the cue ball. And I'm hoping to pot the red here and the cue ball just to drop through and just run into this red, just brush into it, just a fraction, just to leave me out here on the black. If I pot the red and miss this red, the 147 dream's over. But the pink's waiting, and hopefully the break will carry on. I just want to just brush that red next door. And we're just able to make the cannon. So we're in good position here. Check what goes. That red furthest from this pocket pots into here, so I know that's available. Obviously I've got this red and the red at the base of the cluster. I can see that once I've potted this red will become pottable into here as well. So these breaks start to take form quite early. I'm going to try and pot the black and come up here high on my next red in case, if I'm too far, I'll have this one into this corner. A little bit of right hand side, keep your head down. That's nicely done. So it's very, very early days, but quite happy with things so far. And remember, all of this came from that, poor break-off. 3 reds, 3 blacks. As I say, I know the red furthest away pots into this corner pocket, so I'm going to play this red now, soft screw shot, and just hope for a nice angle on the black so that I can get over there for that red next. And you can see the spin on this ball, can't you? You can see the little spins that are being applied. I'm just going to drop the black in, cue ball off the side cushion for the next red. That needs to travel a little bit. That's a bit shorter pace. That's not great. Can I pop this red and get through for the black? Do you know what? That's an awful shot. I'm just wondering if I can sneak through the gap and pop the red at the base of the cluster. Now, what should I do here, guys? Because I can pop the red. I've played such a bad shot there. I had to make sure I was high on this red to pop the red and go towards the black. I played such a bad shot that I now can't do that. I can either pot the red with topspin, run the cue ball into these reds and hope the cue ball pushes through. And I can screw the cue ball back for the black here, or I can just pot the red and play the pink. I have to decide here. This is where you have to decide. Are you going to chase the 147s or are you going to try and make as big a break as you possibly can? Do you know what? You're only here once, aren't you? So I'm going to play the topspin shot. I'm going to pop this red with as much topspin as I can possibly play. The cue ball will arc. It might hit this red first, then into these, and hopefully spin through for the black. Hopefully it'll carry enough spin and momentum with it, despite cannoning into other balls, to still push on through. If it doesn't, the break's over and it'll be a safety shot next, I'm sure. The other little risk here that I've spotted, and I just want to flag it before it happens, is if the cue ball goes through here and hits this red first, there's a chance this red could go in the pocket as well. I'm just sort of seeing that, you know, it's there. But let's see if we can do this. Maximum topspin, push through for the black. Well, I find it very hard to believe that at that pace, I only moved one red. I can't believe that. But that one red I've moved has finished over the pocket. And I am on the black in a fashion. So, you know, if I can pop the black, the natural angle will take the cue ball up here. If I can get the cue ball out into this zone here, I'll have that red that I've put over the pocket by mistake. Of course, I did say that the red was going to go in that direction, so it's not a total surprise, but I need to get the cue ball out past here. If I'm sure, if I'm in this area here, then the pink and those reds are blockers. But anywhere here, I've got a shot at that red over the corner pocket. Anywhere here, I've got a shot at both of those reds. And of course, if I go too far, I've got the red over the middle. This is all coming down to, whatever happens, you must pot the black. And these aren't nice. That middle pocket is also in the, you know, it's in the rear view mirror. The natural angle here is to pot the black, is to go very close to that middle pocket. So I'm just going to try and pot the black, no spin on the cue ball, and hopefully miss the enough. Well, I missed the enough, but I also missed the black. It was really in the back of my mind about the middle pocket. There's nothing you can do about that sometimes. It was just throwing me off. Some of you will remember a very famous shot I played a few years ago by total accident. It was actually playing Gary Wilson. Can't remember what the tournament was, but I was clearing up to win and I got all the way down to the last colours. I was on the black, a very similar shot to that, but on the other side of the table. I potted the black and the cue ball went in off and I lost the frame and the match. I really took it well. You can hear, actually, that I'm over it. Gary, if you're watching, I'm still not over it. Anyway, we went for the big break again, and unfortunately, the 147 has eluded us. Not for the first time on in the frame. Now, how many reds are gone? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus another 5, so that's 10. So that would have been 40. The score is 33-0. I step in now as player B. And I'm just going to drop this red in for a baulk colour and hopefully start the counter clearance. And there's a, you know, as the player who's just gone on a little 147 quest to see it fail, you know, you sit down in your chair now hoping that your opponent isn't going to step in and clear up. But the problem with 147s is you do so much of the hard work, you actually leave the table in quite a straightforward situation. Now, there's nothing to guarantee that I'm going to clear up here, and there's always the chance you might miss an easy ball. But there are no difficult reds here. I've got the cluster, which I've got to open at some stage, but there's no reds on cushions, there's no colours on cushions. So in terms of the effort needed to clear up and make the clearance, this ought to be fairly straightforward. This shot, funnily enough, might be one of the hardest that I have to play in the sequence. If I pop the green and screw back, the cue ball's coming here, and then it's coming off this cushion into this zone. There's a chance you could finish in behind this red on nothing. Don't really like that. That red just squeezes past the black into the corner. So if I could finish in this area here, I'd have a choice of 3 reds. I'd have 1, 2, and 3. So I'd love to finish somewhere here. And the easiest ball to play to get in that area is the brown. Play the brown with just a touch of topspin and left-hand side to bring the cue ball off the cushion here. Just widens a touch to this side cushion, and then its natural pace brings it into this zone that I mentioned before. Anywhere past the blue, and I've got this red here with the rest. You know, if I play this with the spin, the cue ball comes down. If it finishes there, that's fine. I'd love to get on this red next, really, if I'm being totally honest. But I don't mind if I'm not. If the cue ball finishes there, that's great. If it's there, it's fine. If it finishes down here, it's fine as well, because I've got my old insurance red waiting for me. What you mustn't do, of course, in these situations is do all the talking and then miss the brown. So, nice bit of left-hand side, bit of top spin, and down for a choice of reds. And I've really underhit that. You can see the cue ball barely making it past the blue, but most importantly, the brown went in. And as Ray Reardon used to say, when you pot the ball, you get the next shot. Sounds so simple, doesn't it? You can make the game as simple or as complicated as you want. But if you pot the next ball, you're going to have the next turn. Now I'm considering potting the red closest to the pocket. This one here was the one that I was thinking of playing, the one that's slightly closer. But I've got the angle on the red by the pocket that if I pot it and I just play it with a touch of check side, which in this case would be right hand side, you'll see the spin in a minute. The cue ball will come off the cushion and collide into that cluster of reds. And the hope is that when that happens, the reds will spread and I'll have the black waiting for me over the pocket. That's the idea. There's a bit of risk involved in this shot because I could finish on nothing. I could miss the pot. I could hit it too hard and bend the cue ball around the cluster and finish on nothing. But you know, you always have to take a bit of risk, don't you? What's life without a bit of risk? So let's play it. Pot this red, crash into those other reds, and hopefully have the black waiting as we try and mount this counter clearance. Come on. There's the red. And you could see the spin on the cue ball there actually bent around the cluster. That's why I needed the right-hand side, but even with that side, it wasn't enough to make the cannon to the reds. So I didn't mean to be on the blue. This wasn't what I wanted, but this is where we are nonetheless. And I'm just going to drop the blue in and play that red down the side of the table from distance this time. On another day, you might try and get the cue ball around the angles and get much nearer. But the best I could have done was around here off two cushions, through this gap, hopefully get the third cushion and down here. And of course, nothing from that side of the table goes into this corner. So it was no good to me, was it? Now, I know I can see from here that I'll just go around to check. But the loose red that I mentioned a few minutes ago does pass the pink into the left middle pocket. So if I pot this long red and I've got the black waiting for me, I can get to the red to the middle pocket and the break can continue. First things first, I must pot this longish red. Don't need to whack it, just need to hit the cue ball nice and low but quite soft. That way you can hit it quite gently, still get the spin and retain position on the black. Watch the spin on the cue ball, you can see it with the spots, nice and gently. Didn't have to hit that hard. Because I got a lot of spin on, that meant I could hit it softer. Makes the pot easier and we're nicely on position for the black. Now I'm just going to pop the black here, stun off the cushion, out anywhere past here, anywhere past level with the spot for the black, I'll be nicely on that red to the left middle pocket. Nice little stun shot, no side spin, and that's come out nicely for the red. Now, how many is that? I went red, brown, red, blue. So 1, 5, 6, 11, 12, 19. So I'm 21 points behind after my opponent. Oh no, sorry. He only made 33. So I'm 14 points behind. And I'm just trying to see whether this red goes, because if that red pots, we could be on. This is the red that I played for, but the angle I've got is bringing me this way. The pink doesn't pot. I've got to get high on the blue to be able to come back down towards the reds. But none of these reds are available to that corner pocket. I can't play the cannon because the pink's in the way from up here. So this red, whilst it's potable, isn't really actually any good to me. If the one next to it pots, I can screw back for the black And that changes everything. It's very, very tight. Do you know, I'm actually not convinced that this red pots to the middle. But I'm going to try. Nice screw shot, back for the black. Hopefully it goes in. And it did. That was very, very tight. Now, on this particular shot, I can either play to go past the reds up into this zone and come through this gap for this red to the corner pocket, or I can take a chance and try and split those reds. And this is the balance, isn't it? You know, as a snooker player, when you're trying to work out, do I play the split or do I play for the loose red? I've always been a believer in, if you can play the split, play it, because you're going to have to play it at some stage. And there's more chance of being on one of these reds the more reds there is. So I found myself, by accident really, in a position to play the split. And I'm going to play it. I'm going to try to hit these reds here. That red there, that one in the middle, is the red I'd love to hit. It will move these reds, keep the white in the middle of the table. So it's more of a stun shot than a screw shot. Sometimes if you play this with too much screw, the cue ball hits these reds and screws out and finishes over here. I actually want the cue ball to hit these reds and either stay there or push through them a little bit into the middle of the table. I also don't want to hit it so hard that one of these reds ends up going to the cushion, you know, as I'm mounting this fight back with the counter clearance. I don't want to make my job more difficult than it already is. So I'm going to play the stun shot, and I'm going to play it like medium pace, probably like a 6 out of 10. I could hit it a lot harder than I'm going to. But you would think any cannon on those reds, nice and firm, you'd be very unlucky, I think, not to have a shot at a red next time round. Just underneath the middle, nice and smooth. And how did that work out? Do you know, I'm not absolutely certain that I hit the red I meant to. I think that's why the cue ball has ended up over here. You guys will be able to tell me. I don't have the means to do the replay in here whilst I'm in here live. So I'm not sure that I hit the red. You see, the red I wanted to hit, I'm sure is that one, which I don't think has moved. So that was on me. That's not unlucky that the cue ball has finished there and those reds have finished in that configuration. Some people would take that and they'd say, well, how unlucky was that? I potted the black, I split the reds and I didn't finish on a red. That was really unlucky. And you do always need that little bit of luck. But for me, I actually missed the cannon. You know, I'm in control of that part of the shot. I'm not in control of where the reds go, but I am in control of the cue ball travelling from the black into my desired red, which I think I missed. Now, you might be sat there watching this going, oh no, you cannoned the red you meant to, it was just unlucky. In which case, forget everything I've just said. But I don't think that I cannoned that red that I meant to, and I think that's why these balls have ended up how they've ended up. The good news is that I can get through to pop this red in the corner pocket. That's very difficult. And I can pop this red into that right middle pocket as well. That's very difficult as well. I don't like either of those shots, but I'm going to have to play one of them. I would love it if this red potted up into the green pocket. Blue's in the way. So I've got to choose which shot I like the most out of two shots that I don't like at all. None of these shots look particularly appealing to me, if I'm totally honest. I personally really don't like these cutbacks into what we call a blind pocket. Now what that means, we'll just take a little pause here to explain what blind pocket means. A blind pocket is where the pocket isn't in your natural field of vision when you're down on the shot. From my perspective here, looking at the cue ball and the red when I'm down on my shot, the pocket isn't really in my line of vision. You know, it's over there somewhere. I'd really have to look for it to find it. So that makes it what we're calling a blind pocket situation. I don't like those shots. And unfortunately for me, both of these shots are blind pockets. I either cut this back into a pocket that I can't see from here when I'm down at the shot, or I cut this red into that pocket, again, which isn't in my natural field of vision when I'm down on the shot. I'm going to play this red. I don't like either of them, but I'm going to play that red. I'm going to try and play it gently, screw on and off this side cushion, and be on either blue or baulk colour. I'm going to put everything I've got into this pot. Really going to try and just delicately pop this red and screw to the side cushion and be on the blue or baulk colour. Whew, well, I'm a bit surprised by that one. I really don't like those shots. Now, I've actually managed to stop the cue ball a lot quicker than I thought. I thought the cue ball would have ran up here and I'd have been nicely on green. I'm surprised I've managed to stay for position on the blue. And you know what? I've actually played myself into a little bit of trouble, if I'm totally honest, because none of these reds pot. If I get here, that red there doesn't go to the corner. This red will come in the way. I've got to go a long way down the table to pot this red to get to the potting angle. This pink's in the way. So whilst I've overcome one hurdle by potting the red to the middle, I'm actually still in a bit of trouble. What I'm going to have to play is I'm going to have to play the blue to the middle with topspin, takes the cue ball here, and then I want the right hand side to widen the angle and come towards this red. And what I'm trying to do, as I find the other cue ball to show you, is I want this cue ball to finish in there somewhere. Don't really know where it's going to finish. What I'm doing is I'm thinking about what are the odds on me playing the blue in the middle, bring the cue ball into this zone. What are the odds on finishing in here somewhere and not being on a red? I mean, I don't know about you, but I think it's very, very unlikely. It's hard to see a situation where that cue ball comes at the pink or the red from that point of view and doesn't finish on a ball, I think. You know, I think that would be very, very unlucky. So, based on that, that's what I'm going to play. Topspin and right-hand side, hopefully cannon in the pink or just finishing underneath it for a red. Here's the spin. There's the line. If it cannons the pink, we're okay. He says, well, can you believe it? I've cannoned the pink and I'm not on the red. Wow, that is incredible. John Virgo always says it, doesn't he, on the commentary? The things that happen on a snooker table. Absolutely incredible how I've managed to come across the table from that, from that angle of attack. It's not like I've gone at it from this angle. I've come at it from the side. I've hit the pink and somehow I've finished in a position where I cannot pot the next red. I can barely hit the red, let alone pot it. That is absolutely bonkers that that's finished there. Wow. Incredible. Well, that's the game, isn't it? That is snooker. That is the game. Now, what do you play here? I've got absolutely no idea. How many is that? So we went red, brown, red, black, 1, 5, 6, 13, red 14, black for 21, played the split. Then I cut the red for 22, blue for 27. And I was chasing 33. So at the minute, I'm 6 points behind, if this were a real match. So, with that in mind, I'm going to knock the red up and down the table, left-hand side on the cue ball, check side in this case, and try and put it behind the black. And again, if this were a match, I'd be gutted to leave the table. I can't believe that positional shot off the side cushion went wrong. I really can't believe it. But it did go wrong. And you have to retain that patience, you have to retain that composure, and then play a good shot after it. So, I'm behind, but I'm happy with how I've left the table. And I've actually left it in a really awkward position. If I were now coming to the table a few points ahead, this is very, very awkward. I'm not sure what you play from here. This is very, very difficult. I'm really having to think what to do here. I can't really play off this red. I can't play off this red. Let me get the other cue ball so I can show you what I mean. If I play off the right-hand side of that red and try and search for the spot up here, that cue ball is going to come up here behind these two reds and over here towards this cushion somewhere. I can't really play that, can I? Because I leave those two reds to the middle pocket. That's no good to me. I can't play off this side of this red delicately, knock the red into the middle of the table, cue ball off this cushion over here. I can't do that either because I risk leaving this red and I don't really know where this red's going to go. I can see the red behind it, and I can see enough of it to knock the red up and down the table. But that cue ball will come off the side cushion somewhere near the green. Let's say, for instance, it misses the green and comes here. Leaves me this red to the left, to the middle pocket. I'm in a bit of trouble here. Not 100% sure what to play at all. I suppose if I could get the cue ball over here, then these reds become very, very difficult. And so here's a tip for you. When you're in match play scenarios, I see so many players, I see so many junior players, I see so many amateur players, and you know what? I still see so many professional players. They make all their decisions about their shot down there from that end of the table. Steve Davis used to do this every single time. Great tactical players of their era, Ray Reardon, Dennis Taylor, Cliff Thorburn, Alex Higgins, Steve Davis, John Higgins. The list goes on. Come up to this end of the table, or whichever end of the table you think the cue ball is going to finish. Go and have a look at what you might leave your opponent. Because you might go, well, yes, I have technically left a pot, but you know, it's not really on, is it? I haven't really left it. You know, would you go for that if you were here? But you don't know that from down at that end of the table. So do yourself a favour. When you're playing safety shots like this, go and have a look. Take the 30 seconds that it takes and go up the other end and have a look to see what you would leave. I am going to try to skim off this red as thin as possible up towards the green corner of the table. The green pocket is looming very large, I have to say. I don't want to go anywhere near it. I certainly don't want to hit this red too thick and collide with those two reds by the middle. That's a risk as well. This is very, very difficult and all about pace. And I got the line totally wrong. That was a really, really difficult position I was in there. Tactically, I was in a real hole. The only good thing about that shot, I think I'm playing that situation, I think with maybe a 5 or a 6 point advantage, as my opponent would seek to steal and clear up. If, let's say, I'm 5 points ahead or 6 points ahead, if my opponent takes these 4 loose reds, even with 4 blacks, that's 32, minus my lead, my opponent would still need that red that by accident I've now dumped on the cushion. So tactically, although that shot I just played was awful, although it was nothing like the shot I wanted, luckily, it might have just worked to my advantage. We'll see. I'm going to come to the table now as player B. I'm going to imagine that I'm 6 points behind, and I'm going to mount the counter clearance. I can easily drop this red into the middle pocket, out for the yellow. Of course, I said easily. I thought I'd probably miss it then. And this time, I'm going to screw down off the yellow, just top side of the middle pocket. We'll play this with screw and left-hand side. And the left-hand side will bring the cue ball down here for this red into this left-hand pocket. Don't want to go in-off. And going in-off is always a possibility. Really, Jen, you can see the spin on the cue ball there, encouraging it down the table towards that single red. It's not quite where I wanted it to be, but luckily, and I hadn't looked, there's an absolutely unmissable plant to the left corner. So, I'm not really on this red, but I am on this plant. I can just make it now. If I hit this red full ball, the second red will go to the right of the pocket as I'm looking. So I have to send this first red further to my right, as if I'm trying to pot the second ball with the first ball. That gives me the point on the cushion to send the first red. Hopefully the second red will go in the pocket. Perfectly on the pink. And now if you're in this position making the counter clearance, just pop the pink with the rest, keep the elbow parallel with the table, short backswing, short follow through. If you're now making this counter clearance, it's all about this ball, isn't it? That's 10. If I was 6 behind, I'm now 4 points in front. If I take blacks with these next 2 reds, that's 16. That would put me 20 in front by the time I get to the next red. I'm going to play the pink after this red because it's just closer and easier. And mathematically, it doesn't help me or hinder me in terms of the next red. And now I'm thinking about which colour do I want to pot after this red to attack that red on the side cushion. Which colour's easiest to mount the attack for moving that red? Well, you'll all have your own opinion. Get stuck into the comments and let me know which colour you would play. I'm going to play to stun run through for the red, pop the red in the corner, and then play up here for the brown or the green. Anywhere here in a couple of shots time leaves me a lovely shot from hopefully the green to just gently cannon that red over the middle pocket. But we play a little stun run through on the red first, on the pink, sorry. Nicely through for that last red. Let me just get my maths right. It was 1, 3, 4, 10, 11, 17. That puts me 11 points ahead. Now, what I must do when I play this last red, penultimate red, sorry, and get position for the green, I must be north, I must be further up the table than that cue ball that I've placed there for illustration purposes. If I imagine a line here between the cue ball and the green, the straight line, I need to be top side of it so I have the angle on the green to go towards the last red. And if you're the opponent sat in your chair at this stage, you're thinking, this is the last place where this could go wrong. I'm going to play this stun off the cushion there. I'm going to have some right hand side on it to guarantee that the cue ball widens off this cushion. And even if I'm a longer way from the green, at least I'll have the correct angle to play the cannon to the red. This is possibly one of the last times that this situation can go wrong. You can see the side spin there, helping the cue ball up the table. I would like to have been slightly nearer the green, if I'm honest. And you know what? It's not perfect, but at least I've still got the angle. Many, many, many years ago, I remember speaking to my hero, Steve Davis. And I said to him, Steve, what was it that you noticed changed in your game when you stopped dominating the sport? At the end of the 80s, at the start of the 90s, when Stephen Hendry came in and started winning everything, what changed in your game, Steve? And he said a very honest answer. He said that it happened slowly, but he noticed that when he was playing position in shots like this, he started finishing the wrong side of the next ball. And that's what I mean here. I'm a bit further from the green than I meant to be, but at least I'm the right side of it. I played to be low on it, and I am, and that's the difference. You know, I might not be as close to it as I wanted to be, but I've still got the angle. I'm going to have to force this a bit to make the cannon to the red, but I've still got the shot. If I'd finished here, that would have been no good. Even if I'd finished much closer, but the wrong side, that's still no good. So when you're thinking about your own game, and we all think about trying to get as close as you can to the next ball, yeah, that's nice, and it does make things easier. But actually being the correct side of the next ball is far more important than being closer to it. Obviously, in an ideal world, you'd prefer to be both. You'd love to be the correct side and 18 inches from the object ball, but that's not always possible. And if you have to choose between one of them, try to be the correct side rather than being too close. You'll always have a much better chance of getting the next shot right. And in terms of getting the next shot right, the shot I'm now faced with is potting the green and cannoning this red. What I'm going to try to do, just in case I get it right, I'm going to try and tell you what I'm doing first before I do it, because then at least I can say, well, I did say that's what I was trying to do. You can't accuse me of fluking it. What I'm going to try and do is pot the green and send this cue ball into that zone there and just gently brush the red over the middle pocket. That's the intention. Don't know whether it's going to happen or not. I have got a nice angle on the green. I'm going to have to go just below the middle on the cue ball. I'm going to play this with a bit of right hand side. Do you know, not because it helps this part of the shot, just because I like it. It's a right to left shot. Right hand side would be classed as helping side in this case. You know, it just feels right to do. It's a natural thing to do. I don't need it for the positional side of the shot. I'm just going to do it because that's how I feel right doing it. Hopefully get the cannon to the red. Well, I did get the cannon, but it's not over the pocket. And I said at the time, didn't I, the previous red was the last place it could go wrong. And it did go wrong, really. You know, I still had that angle on the green to attack the red, but if the cue ball had been another inch up the table, I would have had a much better angle and I would have been able to get that red out much easier. So let's work out the scores. I think when I potted the pink previously, I think that might have put me 11 points ahead. So 12 for the red, 15 for the green. Let's pretend that I'm now 15 points ahead. That may be right or wrong. Let's pretend and say, right, you're 15 points ahead here. What's the shot? I would always encourage, in what we call this part of the game, it's called the end game. I would always encourage with the end game to try and get the object ball safe. When you're playing normally, you're more focused on the cue ball being safe, getting it close to a cushion. But in this situation, it's all about the object ball safe. That said, this is such a good chance to get the cue ball down behind the black that I'm going to take it. I can't resist it. I can't leave it alone. I should probably play the red safe, but it's such a good chance to get my opponent in a lot of trouble. Down behind the black, little soft stun shot, right hand side. It's too good a chance to not take. I mean, I've got that wrong. I've hit it far too thin. I've got the angle wrong. I've hit the black. But you can see I got my opponent in a lot of trouble. It was too good a chance to leave. If I'd got the shot right, I'd have been up behind the black. I got it wrong, I hit the black. I've still got my opponent in trouble. I've got a massive advantage. If I sit down in my chair, 15 points ahead, this situation's been left. I really fancy my chances of winning the frame from here. Very, very difficult to work out what's going to happen now. How do you get out of this situation? I suppose the obvious situation, I've got two easy hits. I can either come off the side cushion and hit the red, or I can swerve the cue ball around the pink and hit the red. Lots of right-hand side needed for that shot. Got to get the cue in the air to get the spin on. I am going to play it, but of course, you never know where these balls are going to finish. The cue ball could go in the yellow pocket, the red could end up hitting the brown. This could go anywhere, but I have to play something. So, swerve around the pink. Didn't get the swerve. And I said the cue ball could go in the pocket. I just thought I meant it off the red. Didn't think it was going to go in the pocket off the yellow. And so the choice to play the snooker down behind the black, although I didn't get it behind the black, I got it behind the pink, does look as if it's won me the frame. I'm just going to clear up as we come to an end on this video. Just going to play the green on and off the cushion for the yellow to the middle pocket. Been a lot of interesting scenarios this time in the frame. There was a time where it looked like we might have a chance for that 147. That ended very early. There was the time where we played the cannon on the red and the pink in the middle of the table. The cannon I thought couldn't go wrong. It went wrong. And then we had the counter clearance, which unfortunately went wrong as well. But it just goes to show you what happens on a snooker table. Sometimes you think, well, a certain situation can't possibly go wrong, and it does. But isn't that the nature of the sport? Just going to play a little trick shot here behind the black. Here the cue ball comes behind the black, perfectly for the black into the pocket. And guys, as I go to pot the black, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Get stuck into the comments. Let me know what you think about your game, where you need help, what you think about any of these shots. Would you have played the shots that I played, or would you have played something different? If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you are. And make sure you turn those notifications on as well so you don't miss any new videos. I'm going to pot the black, and I shall see you next time.